Media 21, where we talk hot topics, trending topics, what's going on around the world, and what's being talked about. So, like the video as you guys come in, support the channel by subscribing. But thanks for being here. Okay. Um, let's get into what's being talked about. It's being reported that, of course, Donald Trump went on to 60 Minutes. We're going to listen to some of that. We might do some hot topics, trending topics. Um, Cardi B supported Stephon Diggs at his game. She looked all happy and all smiles. Of course, if you don't know, Cardi B is having a baby with Stephon Diggs. And there's other reports that he has other women allegedly pregnant at the same time. So who's to say that those women didn't get pregnant? Then he started dating Cardi B. I don't know. And maybe did he start dating Cardi B because he knew he got those women pregnant? We're gonna get into that. She looks happy in her leather maroon or burgundy outfit. I saw clips of it, so I guess if she happy, it is what it is. He's just gonna have three babies that's gonna be born around the same time. It's something how these football players and basketball players and baseball players. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, you guys. We're gonna get straight into the hot topics, trending topics. Like the video as you guys come in. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here. But we're gonna go ahead, and get into the disclaimer. You know me, I always gotta protect the page. Um, but thanks for being here. Mm-mm-mm. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarships and research. Fair use is used permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All comments are alleged and our opinion, entertainment purposes only. Okay, so there's that. And let me do my, please like the video. Just give me a second, you guys. You know, I always have to do my stuff to protect the page, get the likes up. Okay, so please like the video. There's that. Pin that. Okay, let's get into this clip of him going to this most recent interview. And the biggest thing is this shutdown is affecting so many people. And why is it that it seems like people, he had his little Halloween thing. He had his Good Morning Anonymous. I'm full thought. He had his little thing over the weekend. He had the Halloween thing. And people are like, this shutdown is really affecting people while they have tons of money in the bank. Some of these people are living paycheck to paycheck. I literally saw a video of a federal worker about to be evicted. And we've said that before. Some people are a paycheck away from eviction, a paycheck away from not having the money they need to sustain themselves. And I've talked about this too a lot. No matter what's going on with you, you gotta try and have 3 months of savings. If you can have 6 months, you're doing well. But if it's 3 months, it can take time to find a new job, whether you do Uber, Lyft, whatever. In regards to YouTube, it sometimes takes time for people to make money and do well. But yeah, if you can try and have 3 months, 6 months saving, that's a blessing. But these federal workers haven't been paid for almost now a month and they're struggling. I couldn't believe how the one young lady was literally getting eviction notes. And if she didn't come up with the money on the first, they were going to put her out. A federal worker. How is it that these people, these people are okay with what they're doing? And I showed y'all the video why this is happening. You know what I mean? Them not being able to agree. Let's go ahead and get to these clips, y'all. I hope these people are going to be okay. Federal workers standing in line for food. Let's get to
It's been 5 years since President Trump appeared for an interview on 60 Minutes. A lot has happened since then, not least of which was his political comeback and triumphant return to the White House. On Friday, hours after he touched down from his whirlwind trip to Asia, Mr. Trump agreed to sit down with us for a wide-ranging conversation. It was exactly 1 year to the day since he sued Paramount, parent company of CBS, alleging that 60 Minutes had deceptively edited an interview with his opponent, Kamala Harris. Paramount settled that lawsuit. The settlement did not include an apology or admission of wrongdoing. In our nearly 90-minute conversation this past week, we spoke with Mr. Trump about the country and the world. The story will continue in a moment.
Now remember,
We met with the president at Mar-a-Lago, his private club in Florida.
Now remember, he had whoever was in office then. He had said that it's the president's responsibility to bring people together.
Of the 31st day of the government shutdown.
Why is everyone using ninja transfers?
Like the video, like the video. Fair use reaction clip. Like the video as you guys come in. I appreciate you guys for being here. I appreciate you guys for being here.
Here at home, some of that you have already mentioned. Approaching the longest shutdown in American history.
Democrats' fault.
Under your presidency, we're talking about more than 1 million federal workers who are not getting a paycheck, including our air traffic controllers. You see there's traffic snarls out at the airports now. This weekend, food aid for more than 42 million Americans is set to expire. What are you doing as president?
Now let's hear what he has to say about the food and the shutdown.
When your back is giving you problems, it's so hard.
There's about 101 in the building. Please hit subscribe and thank you. Hello, Chicago. SHUTDOwn.
Doing as president to end the shutdown.
All we're doing is we keep voting. I mean, the Republicans are voting almost unanimously to end it, and the Democrats keep voting against ending it. You know, they've never had this. This has happened like 18 times before. The Democrats always voted for an extension, always saying, give us an extension. We'll work it out. They've lost their way. They become crazed lunatics. And all they have to do, Nora, is say, let's vote. And you can open, the economy could open up during our interview.
Is there something you can do, though? Is there something you
all
can
I can
do to bring this
is
to
give
an
the
end?
facts. Here's what I can't do. I can't give them $1.5 trillion so that they can give welfare to people that came into our country illegally, so that prisoners and that people from mental institutions and people that are drug dealers get vast amounts of money for health care. That I can't do.
So
what I can do is I can continue to run a great country. We have the best economy we've ever had. I can continue to do that. What they should do, look, this...
There's about 126 in the building. Please hit subscribe, you guys. All 127. Please hit subscribe and thank you. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip. He talks over her when she's talking facts. Allege.
To our country, Nora, is horrible. So, ready? We can make it good.
I don't want to get into back too much back and
here's
forth
all
on
they
this.
have to do.
Yeah.
Open up the country. Open up the country. We only need
Meaning end the
5
shutdown.
of their votes. We only need 5 votes. And already a couple of Democrats, a few Democrats are already voting. They want to open up, and we'll fix all of those problems. Those problems are much easier than what I just did with solving all these wars.
Last question.
We had 9 wars on our planet. I solved 8 of them. I have 1 to go, Russia, Ukraine. I thought that was going to be one of the easier ones, but it's not because Putin is tougher than people.
You have helped end these government shutdowns in the past when they came about, and you did it by bringing
I'm very
them.
good at it,
You
but I'm
brought
not going
members
to
of
do it by.
Congress
I'm not going to do
to
it
the
by
White House.
extortion. I'm not going to do it by being extorted by the Democrats who have lost their way. There's something wrong with these people.
So then what happens on November
Schumer is a
15th when the
basket
troops
case.
don't get a paycheck?
Schumer is a basket case, and he has nothing to lose. He's become. I just left Japan. He's become a kamikaze pilot. This guy.
It sounds like this is not going to get
is a
solved.
kamikaze. He would rather see the country fail than have Trump and the Republicans do well. But the people don't want that.
I hear you.
So
It
we have
sounds
a
like
record-setting country right now, and we're not going to be extorted by a man who's grossly incompetent, who is going to be defeated by any one of 5 different candidates.
Sounds like this is not going to get solved.
Say it?
Sounds like it's not going to get solved, the shutdown.
It's going to get solved, yeah. Oh, it's going to get solved.
How?
We're gonna solve it. Eventually, they're going to have to vote.
You're saying the Democrats will capitulate.
I think they have to. And if they don't vote, that's their problem. Now, I happen to agree with something else. I think we should do the nuclear option. This is a totally different nuclear, by the way. It's called ending the filibuster. I think he's terrific, but I disagree with him on this point.
He said today he wasn't going to do it.
Well, that's too bad. You know, I mean, I think we're much better off, because here's the problem. The Democrats will do it in the first week in office. The Democrats, and I told that to John, and I get along with them great. We've got a great relationship. And I also know there are other Republicans that feel the other way, and I understand that too, but they're wrong. The Democrats will do it. If they get into power someday, I guess.
Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the hearts.
Men and women's sports, open borders, open everything, a transgender for everyone. The Democrats will do it in their first day in office. And the only reason they didn't do it is because of cinema and because of a man named Joe Manchin from West Virginia, a good man, and they disagreed with it. Now wait, had they approved it, I think just one of them, had they been able to get those votes, you would have had the nuclear option used. You would have had the filibuster ended, and the Democrats would have used it. So I say to the Republicans that want to be, all like, oh, well, we're above all that. The Democrats will do it. See, the Republicans have much better policy. We have smart policy. We have great policy. That's how we win. The Democrats are vicious. They're vicious. They have horrible policy, but they are the most vicious human beings on earth. They are people that weaponize government. They do a lot of bad things. But the good thing is, from our standpoint, from the standpoint of winning, is they have the worst policy of, it's hard to believe, think of it, men playing in women's sports. I watched a show this morning where a very well-known Democrat congressman was fighting like hell for men playing in women's sports. They don't change it overnight. I don't want to tell you. You'll be able to check it. Just local TV.
On the economy, the signature invalidates your tariffs.
I think our country will be immeasurably hurt. I think our economy will go to hell. Look, because of tariffs, we have the highest stock market we've ever had. Because of tariffs, 401ks at the highest level. And this is millions and millions of people that we've ever had, 401ks. I think it's the most important subject discussed by the Supreme Court in 100 years. If they take away the power of tariffs from us, and it has to be quick and nimble. You can't have Congress where hundreds of people have to look. They can't even agree to continue a country. You can't have Congress. This has to be quick and nimble.
Well, you just finished that sentence. You said, if they take away my power to do tariffs, what?
It would be a very sad day for the United States of America. We're making a lot of money. We're respected again all over the world. We have great national security. Let me give you an example. With China, they were, very strongly threatening us, frankly, with the rare earths. And then I said, well, if you're going to play that card, I'm going to put a 100% tariff on over and above what you're already paying, which was 55%, which was very high. A lot of money coming in, tremendous money like we've never seen. I'm going to put a 100% tariff on everything over and above. And you know what happened? We got a phone call 20 minutes later. We'd like to talk. If they take away the right to tariff, if we're forced to use Congress to approve, they can't approve anything. They would be sitting around for years debating whether or not we should use tariffs.
You want that power. You want that executive power.
You need it to protect our country. This is a national security. Tariffs are national security. If you take away the right to tariff, and remember this, tariffs have been used against us.
And can you just answer that question that tariffs have led to inflation? They have led to an increase in cost of living for most
Americans. We have no inflation. Biden had inflation and he didn't have tariffs. He didn't use tariffs. You know why he didn't use them? Because he's not smart enough to use them.
The companies say they passed on more than 30% of these costs to the American consumer. The tariffs, and somebody has to pay for it.
Yeah, you have to pay, but we don't have any inflation. Inflation is the real test of paying. Everybody said, oh, if you do tariffs, you're going to have inflation. So Biden had the highest inflation in the history of our country by far. Okay? No tariffs. I have very modest tariffs compared. Let me tell you, these tariffs ultimately are so good that at some point, when they're used properly, I use them more properly than anybody's ever even dreamt possible. Think of it. We become rich. We're taking in trillions of dollars, and I have no inflation. And I have total national security. When I put the 100% tariff on China over and above what they were already...
Who's become rich? Like the video, like the video. There's about 104 in the building. Please hit the subscribe button. Let's get the likes up. The likes should match the views. Who's become rich? Like the video, like the video. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Thank you. Let's continue.
Paying, which was about 55%, so 155. They came to the table immediately, and they made a deal with us that was a very fair deal. That's called national security. And then I didn't make them pay the 100%. That would have been instituted. That would have come to 4 on November 1st.
I know.
Nora, listen to me. I hear you. If I didn't have the power of tariff, we would be like a subject nation. We'd be subject to everyone else. Everybody uses tariffs on us. If I wasn't allowed to use...
I am absolutely obsessed with what's inside this
Like
box.
like the video. Fair use reaction clip. There's about 100 in the building.
I want to ask you about America.
You see a difference?
Can I ask y'all, does a lot of what he's saying sound familiar? Like this has been the same conversation for the last 3-4 weeks. It sounds very similar. And when she asks something that she feels is correct or right, he cuts her off. Like the video, like the video. Fair use reaction clip. This is what he says in most interviews when he's being questioned by the press. It's definitely repetitive.
American cities in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
I think I've been working too hard. I haven't been out and about.
Oh, that's not a fair answer. You see a difference.
I get in my car and go to work and I go
You
home.
don't have to use that one. Don't worry. Don't worry. I don't want to embarrass
I've been working too
you.
hard.
It's like, you know what the difference is? Like day and night.
I want to ask you more about some American cities.
Sure.
We're on the eve a number of big state and local elections. One of the most watched is the one for mayor of New York City.
Yeah.
Zoran Mandami, 34-year-old Democratic socialist. He's the front
Communist, not social. He's far worse than a socialist.
Some people have compared him to a left-wing version of you, charismatic, breaking the old rules. What do you think about that?
Well, I think I'm a much better looking person than him, right?
Okay. Well, former Governor Andrew Cuomo, who you know is campaigning for mayor, he recently said that if Mandami becomes mayor of New York City, that you will take over New York. Cuomo said this. He said he will be President Trump and Mayor Trump. He's going to take over New York and send tanks down Fifth Avenue.
Oh, it's so crazy. Look, when I left New York, we were at the epitome of it was a great city. It was doing great. It was a great city, but there was some bad signs because we had a guy named de Blasio who was the worst mayor. Like I say, Biden was the worst president. De Blasio was the worst mayor.
What if Mondami becomes mayor?
It's going to be hard for me as the president to give a lot of money to New York because if you have a communist running New York, all you're doing is wasting the money you're sending there. So I don't know that he's won, and I'm not a fan of Cuomo one way or the other, but if it's going to be between a bad Democrat and a communist, I'm going to pick the bad Democrat all the time, to be honest with you.
This past Tuesday, while speaking to American troops in Japan, you talked about just asking, is it
Comey's a
political
dirty cop.
retribution?
Look, Comey's known as a dirty cop. I'm not known as a dirty person. They indicted me many times. Indicted me. They were after me. I'm looking at you now, President of the United States. I went through numerous indictments and 2 impeachments. And you tell me that I went after people? These people are dishonest. Look, Biden didn't have a clue. He illegally used, as you know, a machine, the auto pen, in order to give pardons to people. The only pardon he signed, it looks like, was his son, Hunter. He signed Hunter's, so Hunter, you're free. Congratulations, Hunter. But everyone else, I think those pardons are all were just a waste of time.
Did you instruct the Department of Justice to go after
Not
them?
in any way, shape, or form. No, you don't have to instruct them because they were so dirty, they were so crooked, they were so corrupt that the honest people we have, Pam Bondi's doing a very good job, Kash Patel's doing a very good job. The honest people that we have go after them automatically. But they instructed them to go after me because the records now have been found. So when you tell me about, I went after Comey's low in the totem pole. They went after the President of the United States. Do you know that they raided my house in Palm Beach, Florida, called Mar-a-Lago? They raided my house. I had 78 or 98 FBI agents with arms.
I know how
come into my house, and you're telling me, Nora, that I went after some lowlife named Comey, who's a judge to be a crooked guy. He lied all over the place. He lied to Congress and did many other bad things.
Well, I was just asking.
For that, you should be ashamed.
No, I was just asking. Is this retribution?
No,
on your
it's
part?
the opposite. I think I've been very mild-mannered. You're looking at a man who was indicted many times, and I had to beat the rap. Otherwise, I couldn't have run for president. They tried to get me not to run for president by going after me and by indicting me. But even during my term, on a perfect phone call, I got impeached. This call was perfect. Tim Scott from South Carolina, highly respected, a legitimate person, totally legit. He read the transcript. Thank goodness we had a transcript of the call. The call I got, a call on Ukraine, of all places, with the president of Ukraine. It was a perfect phone call. Tim Scott said, I just read the transcript. The president didn't do anything wrong. It was perfect. And that was the end of the indictment pretty much. But I had to go through a whole process. You know, the Democrats knew that I wasn't guilty because they didn't know that the call was, I didn't know either. The call was essentially taped. So we knew exactly what the call, when they found out that the call was taped, Pelosi went crazy. She said, you made me go into this mess. She screamed at all these people that made her do it. Bad people like Schiff, et cetera, et cetera. So what happened is she went nuts. And just to conclude, and they said, let's do it anyway. They did it anyway, and I won very easily, as you know. But you can't then accuse me of weaponizing government. They were horrible human beings. They went after the President of the United States. They went after my children. They went into my wife's drawers. They went into my wife's closets. They held the dresses up. She came back. She said, oh, what happened? What happened? Because she's a very meticulous person. Everything's nice and neat. All of a sudden, everything's like, they went into my office. They took things that I was allowed to have filed under the Presidential Records Act that I was allowed to have. I had records. I was allowed to have them. Only the president's allowed, but and it was nothing very significant anyway. There was like nothing. Wait, just 1 second. They opened these. I'm a very meticulous person too. I have files, beautiful. They took the files, threw them all over the phone, all over the floor. They were all over the floor. And they took pictures of them. This is my office. I said, what the hell? That's not my office. They took files. They threw them all over. And they took pictures and they released them to the public that this is President Trump's office. We caught him with all of the stuff like it was all over the floor of my office. These are crooked people. These are deceptive. So don't ask me about, did you go after Letitia James, in my opinion, and I only say in my opinion because I guess the lawyers would prefer that I say that.
Please hit the subscribe button. There's about 155 in the building, 155 in the building. Please hit subscribe. Thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk About It Media 21. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
I have a much stronger opinion. She's a total crook. She's a lowlife. Comey's a dirty cop. Bolton actually helped me a lot because he was crazy. He's the one, him and Cheney, a couple of people got Bush to go out and blow the hell out of the Middle East and then then leave. And actually Bolton helped because every time somebody saw Bolton standing behind me, foreign countries. They conceded. You know why they conceded? Because they said Bolton's a nut job. Trump is going to take us to war. But I don't listen to people that are stupid. Go ahead.
This is a question about pardons. The Trump family is now perhaps more associated with cryptocurrency than real estate.
Now listen to this part. This is very important. Listen to what he says about this pardon. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip. Let's get the likes up, you guys. Double tap the screen, and then you'll see the thumbs up. Thumbs up the video. Hit the thumbs up above the video, below the video. Let's continue.
You and your sons, Don Jr. and Eric, formed World Liberty Financial with the Witkoff family, helping to make your family millions of dollars. It's in that context that I do want to ask you about crypto's richest man, a billionaire known as CZ. He pled guilty in 2023 to violating anti-money laundering laws. The government at the time said that CZ had caused significant harm to U.S. national security, essentially by allowing terrorist groups like Hamas to move millions of dollars around. Why did you pardon him?
Okay, are you ready? I don't know who he is. I know he got a 4-month sentence or something like that.
What? He don't know who he is. Like the video.
And I heard it was a Biden witch hunt.
In 2025, for play.
Well, here's the thing. I know nothing about it because I'm too busy doing the other.
But
I can only tell you this. My sons are into it. I'm glad they are because it's probably a great industry, crypto. I think it's good. You know, they're running a business. They're not in government, and they're good. My one son is a #1 bestseller now. My wife just had a #1 bestseller. I'm proud of them for doing that. I'm focused on this. About the guy.
These magic books made writing practice.
But he got pardoned. Like the video, fair use, reaction clip. Like the video as you guys come in.
He's a victim of weaponization by government. When you say the government, you're talking about the Biden government. It's a corrupt government. Biden was the most corrupt president, and he was the worst president we've ever had. I only care about one thing. Will we be #1 in crypto? Crypto has turned out, and
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for being a member. Memberships are over there, you guys. Thanks for being a member. Good morning, Paris. Everyone say good morning to Paris.
In that sense, I've been right. It turned out to be a massive industry, if you want to call it that. And I'm very proud to say that we are far and away ahead of China and everybody else. Now, China's getting into it very big right now. If you want to go after people, you're going to kill that industry, and it'll be very bad. Tremendous number of jobs. I campaigned positively on crypto, very openly. I campaigned. Biden campaigned against it. When Biden found out that I was getting like 100% of the crypto vote, which was a lot, he switched totally, and he went in favor of crypto. They went totally in favor. They had many people under indictment. They let them all go. You know that. Many people were under indictment. Biden was a corrupt president. Biden went all in on crypto at the very end because he thought he could get some votes. It didn't work. They voted for me. I want to make crypto great for America. That's the only thing. I don't want to have somebody else have crypto and have China be #1 in the world in crypto. Because in crypto, it's a kind of an industry where basically you're going to have #1 and you're not going to have a #2. And right now we're #1 by a long shot. I want to keep it that way. The same way we're #1 with AI, we're #1 with crypto. And I want to keep it that way.
I know my time is limited with you, so I want to be respectful of you, Mr. President. The issue of political violence I want to get to, because you were nearly assassinated in Butler, Pennsylvania. Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's house was firebombed. Minnesota lawmaker murdered. What's your message to those on the left and the right who would seek to commit acts of violence?
Well, I think primarily on the left, a little bit of both, but I think primarily on the left. I think they have to tone it down. I think they have to approve the shutdown so it's not shut down. I think it's very bad what they're doing. They're hurting people. If you think about it, if people aren't going to get paid, they're going to be, a lot of angry people out there that want to get their food, they want to get the money so they can live. In some cases, whatever they want to get, they want to get. I think by the Democrats not giving us the votes, I think it endangers both parties. I think it's very bad. There's never been a case like this. This is fairly standard stuff. Extensions are almost automatic. In fact, they were virtually automatic. This is the only time. The Republicans can't be extorted in order to ruin our country.
Do you feel like we're at a breaking point, given everything that you just said?
No, it's been much worse.
Because
over history, it's been much worse.
Sure, the political violence that we just outlined, the number of members of people in public that have been targeted, and then I just read that there's now a number of your cabinet secretaries and aides who are now living on military bases.
Yeah, usually when people talk, they're not the problem. It's the ones that don't talk in terms of that. But I think it's a lot of the rhetoric. Look, they call me a Nazi all the time. I'm not a Nazi. I'm the opposite. I'm somebody that's saving our country. But they call me Nazi. They have talking points. They have just talking points. And the press is largely responsible for it. The fake news, what they've done. I think one of the greatest terms I've ever come up with is fake news. What they've done to our country is very bad. They have to change around. Now, nobody believes the fake news. Nobody believes them. I mean, they've gone, you talk about popularity, you talk about approval. Their approval numbers have gone from like in the 90s to in the teens now. We need borders. We need fair votes. And you really need a fair press. If you, and you do, you have some great journalists, some great reporters, but you have some terrible, terrible dishonest journalists. And I see it all the time because I'll give up a story and they'll have it. Even my trip with China was, but of all, the Wall Street Journal, they said Trump lowers tariffs. That was the headline. Trump lowers tariffs. That was, I lowered tariffs in order to get everything that anybody could possibly dream of. The point wasn't lowering tariffs. I put a behind number, I cut it, and I got everything. And yet the headline in the Wall Street Journal, beautiful picture of myself and presidency, everything nice, but the headline was Trump lowers tariffs.
Dear Maurice's.
Like the video, like the video. There's about 150 in the building. There's about 150 in the building. Please hit the subscribe button. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting.
We're respected as a country. We're not threatened right now, and we're not going to be threatened. As long as we have a strong, smart president, we're never going to be threatened by anybody.
There's been a lot of talk about 2028 and who will be at the top of the Republican ticket. Can you set the record straight? You're not going to try and run for a third term?
Well, I don't even think about it. I will tell you, a lot of people want me to run, but the difference between us and the Democrats is we really do have a strong bench. I don't want to use names because it's inappropriate, but it's too early.
But people do like when you start talking about whether you like J.D. Vance or
I
Secretary
do like
Rubio.
J.D. Vance. I like Marco Rubio. I like so many. We have an unbelievable bench. We could run two people together. We have a great bench. So I don't want to start talking about elections. It's too early. One thing I can tell you, the 2020 election was rigged. And a lot of people say when it's rigged, you're allowed to do it again. It was rigged, and it's been caught, and you see the same information that everybody else does, and it's coming out now in spades. But with all of that, we have a great bench. We have unbelievable people. You can go up and down my cabinet. We have great people. They don't. They have a guy that's ruined the state of California, ruined it, destroyed it. And I have a lot of property out there, I can tell you. They've ruined the state of California. He has been terrible. Other than he's got a good line of bullshit. That's all it is. He's ruined the state. And he's one of the people running. Jasmine Crockett. She's a low IQ. They say she might run for president. Jasmine Crockett. This is a very low IQ person. AOC, I watched her speak the other day. Almost the first time she was screaming, she was like a crazy person. She's got not a good speaker. Doesn't have, I don't think, but you never know what it is. You never know what it is that can spark an election. When Joe ran, first time I thought he was terrible. He was horrible. I won by a lot. The second time he was running, he was doing very poorly, had a bad debate, and they replaced him in the middle of the election. This could only happen to me. They replaced him with somebody. The press got behind her. Oh, they were so behind her. But eventually she failed because she couldn't speak. She wasn't a very intelligent person, in my opinion, but she couldn't speak properly. She could not speak. And actually 60 Minutes paid me a lot of money, and you don't have to put this on because I don't want to embarrass you, and I'm sure you're not. I think you have a great new leader, frankly, because the young woman that's leading your whole enterprise is a great, from what I know, I don't know her, but I hear she's a great person. But 60 Minutes was forced to pay me a lot of money because they took her answer out. It was so bad, it was election changing 2 nights before the election, and they put a new answer in. And they paid me a lot of money for that. You can't have fake news. You've got to have legit news. And I think that it's happening. I see good things happening in the news. I really do. And I think one of the best things that happen is this show and new ownership, CBS and new ownership. I think it's the greatest thing that's happened in a long time to a free and open and good press.
Mr. President, can I also ask you, we're now at the end of your first year of this second term. What do you hope to accomplish in the next 3 years?
Well, if I could have the same year that we had. Look, we have been acknowledged to have the greatest 9 months. It's 9 months. The greatest 9 months in the history of the presidency. So if I can keep that going, I'll be very happy. Because, what we've done, I inherited a mess. And I've fixed it, other than it will take a while to get all the criminals, the real criminals, the real bad ones out. But we've gotten a lot of them out. We've gotten a lot of the murderers out. We've gotten a lot of the people from jails out. And we've taken them back to their countries. In some cases, they're so dangerous that we've actually had to put them in our jails because we didn't want them coming back. I want to just keep it going pretty much the same way. I want safety in our cities. Our cities are a mess. And I hate to say it, they're Democrat-run cities. If you 25 cities, they're almost every one of them.
And to people that say they're struggling with the cost of living expenses, what could you do about that?
Well, let me just say, cashless bail is a disaster. Got to be changed. Sanctuary cities really have to be changed. There's sanctuary, there's sanctuary for criminals. Some basic things have to be changed. But one of the things I really have focused on is making Chicago great again. And we're just getting started in Chicago. But what we did Well, we took DC from being so bad to so beautiful. Such the restaurants are booming. You can't get into a restaurant. They were closing, and now they're all opening. You can't get a restaurant now. You can't get into a restaurant, but if you want to buy a restaurant or own a restaurant, you almost can't find it. I want to make this happen all over the country. I want it to be like that in New York, in LA, in Chicago. I want to do it as much as can. You know, by the way, Memphis, we're there now. Memphis was a dangerous.
Please hit the subscribe button. See how he's over talking her? He knows how much time he has. So it's easier for him to overtalk her because he knows it's coming towards the end. In the beginning, she was able to ask a lot of questions. Now, towards the end, he's getting all his comments in.
Hellhole, 65% down in crime. And this is after 2 weeks. We can do it all over the place. It's turned out to be a new passion for me, making our city. I had no idea we could be that successful. I thought it would take a much longer period of time. You know, in Washington, in 12 days, it was really good. In 1 month, it was close to perfect.
And for those that are suffering with cost of living increases and saying they're living paycheck to paycheck?
Well, I'd be very upset with Biden because we don't have any of those problems. We don't have inflation. You know, essentially, we don't.
What? Federal workers are not even, some of them are not even being paid. Like the video, like the video. What?
Have inflation. I inherited the worst inflation in history of our country. We don't have inflation. We're down to 2%, even less than 2%. A couple of items like beef, I'm getting down. But our groceries are down.
Healthcare premiums?
I can fix healthcare. Give them better healthcare for less money. Obamacare.
She got overtalked. She was able to ask questions in the beginning. Like the video. Fair use reaction clip.
All pretense he's focused on delivering Americans with his latest move. And I'm joined by California Governor Gavin Newsom to discuss the Trump shutdown, Attorney General Rob Bonta to discuss how California is fighting back against the deployment of DOJ poll watchers, and ABC News' Jonathan Karl to discuss his behind-the-scenes reporting from Mar-a-Lago. I'm Brian Tyler Cohen, and you're watching No Lie.
Like the video.
One might think that when the government is shut down because you refuse to extend Affordable Care Act subsidies, when you put 42 million Americans at risk of not getting their food assistance that they rely on to survive, that you might try just a tad bit harder to make sure that you, the billionaire president of the United States, do not host a party at your exclusive resort where the theme is quite literally The Great Gatsby. I mean, talk about on the nose. Was the Hunger Games not available? And of course, this is not a bug, it is a feature. We have a president broadcasting the extent to which he just doesn't care how out of touch he looks, doesn't care about the extent to which he's channeling Marie Antoinette. And it's not just his party celebrating the haves versus the have-nots, it's the fact that the day before that party, he posted, I shit you not, 25 photos about his newly marbled bathroom renovation. It's the fact that he demolished the entire east wing of the White House to build himself a $350 million ballroom. It's the fact that he's using $1 billion in taxpayer money to retrofit a jet that he gets to keep. The fact that he's adorned the Oval Office with enough gold to make Liberace blush. The fact that he's doubled his net worth in the last 10 months in office. The fact that the latest drone contract from the Pentagon went to Don Jr.'s drone company. And so we've got example after example after example of the fact that this guy has used the presidency to enrich himself and his family and immerse himself in opulence, which would be bad enough unto itself. But remember, this guy ran an entire ass campaign predicated on this idea that he actually gave a shit. He pandered for years and years about the cost of groceries, of housing, of rent, of eggs. He talked about manufacturing jobs, talked about high inflation, talked about wages. And yet now, housing is more expensive. Rent is more expensive. Groceries are more expensive. Manufacturing is contracting. Inflation's been rising every month since March. Wages are flat. Everyone is hurting. And yet this guy has the balls to get in front of the cameras and try to explain to people how what we needed as a country was a fucking ballroom. Look, Trump is not devoid of...
Okay, Paris, you know his mouth, but his topics are pretty good. I don't know how I'm going to deal with his mouth, but how he presents stuff is good. It's just his mouth. But I like his show, though. I like Brian's show. Like the videos, you guys come in.
Strategy. He may have had zero intention of keeping any of his promises from the campaign, but he was still smart enough to deploy those promises because he knew they would work, and they did. The guy isn't stupid. He understands optics. He understands marketing. If nothing else, he understands marketing. So the fact that he will then, regardless, still adorn his office with gold and post 25 pictures of his new marble bathroom and literally host a Gatsby-themed party at Mar-a-Lago wasn't some accident. It is simply the result of the fact that he does not care. His priority is not, and never was, working class people. It is himself. It is his family. It's his donors and his rich friends. Those are the people who will ride on his new jet. Those are the people who will dine in his new ballroom. Those are the people who will admire the gold leafing in the Oval Office. All the while, millions of Americans across the country, and especially in red states, will spend the following days hoping their food assistance comes through, while they figure out how they're going to pay 2, 3, 4, 5 times more for health insurance in 2026 than they did in 2025. You don't have to listen to what I say Trump's priorities are. You just have to look at what he's doing. He is broadcasting those priorities a hell of a lot better than I ever could. So I hope his supporters and his voters out there recognize not just the con being perpetuated by Trump, but supported by his entire party. Remember, the GOP's got full control of government. They don't need to compromise with the Democrats. This is their full agenda playing itself out. This is what you get with GOP control. Yes, Donald Trump, but everybody else in the House, everybody else in the Senate, all of whom are going along with this. So they'll say the right things during the campaign, but the moment they have power, it is about helping themselves. So remember this moment, because when they need to pander for your votes again in the upcoming elections, they're going to repeat the same populist platitudes they did before. But when it comes time to govern, their focus will always be helping themselves. Next up are my interviews with Gavin Newsom, Rob Bonta, and Jonathan Karl. No Lies brought desk. So I know prior to getting Uplift Desk for myself, my main problem was that I was sitting at my desk for 11, 12, 13 hours a day.
Like the video, like the video. And Newsom, I'm still, that's LA fires. The LA fires is still an issue and people building their homes. So I'm surprised he's even running for presidency. How is Newsom going to run for presidency and he can't even take care of what happened in LA and make sure those people have water? Come on. Hello. Like the video, fair use reaction clip. I'm shocked that he's even running. You can't even.
More opulence and more wealth.
Yeah, and or isolated down in Mar-a-Lago where he had a roaring 20s party. Right. Think about that. A roaring 20s, great Gatsby Halloween party, where he's posting this literally hours before 42 million people will not have any new money put in their EBD, their debit cards for foods during the holidays, during Thanksgiving, at a time where Halloween candy just cost folks 10.8% more than it did last year. A pound of beef is historically high, coffees at historic highs. Look, it's vulgar. There's a reason people are putting Marie Antoinette memes up there of Trump. Let him eat cake. Because that's how this feels.
Yeah.
He's betraying his own voters. And the word betrayal is a word we need to use more often about Donald Trump. He's turned his back on his own voters. Red districts, red and rural counties, red states that disproportionately are the beneficiaries of food stamps, disproportionately are going to be impacted by a doubling and tripling in many cases of health care because of his recklessness and his total disregard for them and his obsession with one person only, himself.
In the lead up to this whole fight about whether food assistance would be released to Americans, you have Mike Johnson saying every day that there's nothing we can do. We can't possibly touch this contingency fund because we need to make sure that at some arbitrary point in the future that we have a contingency fund, some other emergency, but not this emergency. So they brought this thing into court. There were two judges, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, both of whom said that you have to release these funds, that this is an emergency just like any other emergency would be. People are going to go hungry right now. And the Trump administration's response to that was to say, we're going to appeal. And so what is your reaction to the fact that even notwithstanding the fact that fighting this battle unto itself is bad enough when they could have been releasing these funds alone in the contingency fund, but then to go into court and say, we're not even going to take yes for an answer. We're not even going to accept the political cover that the judges are giving us. We're going to actually fight this to make sure that these funds don't go out.
I don't even unpack that. Everything he said is spot on. And by the way, we were really proud in California to be one of the leads on that lawsuit, and very proud of this judge to state the obvious, who looked at the actual language that said the USDA shall appropriate contingency funds, and that includes, by the way, considerations for exactly what occurred, a government shutdown, that literally on September 30th, the USDA put out a press release saying these funds are available for precisely that use in case there is a government shutdown, only to see that disappear on their website. And now they're trying to erase any consciousness or memory or any sense of decency about the American people. Look, you'd expect that of Donald Trump. Let's push that aside. But you started that question with Mike Johnson.
Right. The most pious man in Washington, D.C.
There's about 110 in the building. Please hit the subscribe button. Let's get the likes up, you guys. Let's get the likes to 100. Can I get 104 people to hit the like button? Hit the thumbs up above the video, below the video. Let's get the likes up. Thanks for the hearts. Thanks for the 100s. Thank you. Thank you.
Like that word, pious. It's a good way to describe him. Who's competing for bullshit, bloviation, and lies with Donald Trump. It's extraordinary what comes out of his mouth. Increasingly, it is beyond the pale.
Subscribe button. Let's get the likes up, you guys. 66 likes. Let me get 40 people to hit that like button. YouTube makes it easy. All you have to do is double tap the screen, hit the thumbs up. Double tap the screen, hit the thumbs up. Or hit a back button and hit the thumbs up. Thanks for being here. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
I want to switch gears a little bit. We have heard that the Trump administration is going to send
Thank
poll monitors
you.
from the DOJ into a couple of states, California, New Jersey. as we look toward this process playing itself out, we know why this is going to happen. It's not because the Trump administration thinks in good faith that there's going to be some election irregularities. It's because they want to use this as a pretext to be able to cry fraud. That we've sent our poll monitors in there, and what do you know? We found fraud. And so knowing that this is going to happen, knowing that this is the basis for them to send in these poll monitors in the first place, what's your plan not to rebut, but to pre-but what's happening at the hands of the DOJ?
So two things. Everything about that question is important, and I hope everybody heard what you just said. The pretext to accuse fraud, that is a preview of what you described of 2026 in the midterm elections. Wake up, everybody. That is a preview of 2026. But here's what we've done. You may recall a week or so ago, I asked people to no longer send money in for Proposition 50. I did that a few days later than I otherwise would for one reason, that we raised a little bit more money to then make sure that we have a legal defense team, that we have a rapid response team, that we're monitoring the monitors. We're going to flood the zone in the 5 counties where he's sending the DOJ to monitor their activities, to call all this out in real time. So we're going to pre-butt the frame. We're going to in real time call this out. And soon as they start to move to create some doubt around the election results, we're going to flood the zones with voices, law, and reason. And that is exactly, I think, the approach we need to take all across this country. Next year, Democrats all across this country, I think we're going to have to take a similar approach.
One last question here, and that is that throughout this whole process, I've watched as you've been especially aggressive in terms of fighting on this Prop 50 front. And there were a few folks who came out and who said we wanted to practice good governance, and you've been really effective at swatting that down and showing why this is not about good governance. This is about fighting fire with fire and preserving our democracy. We have seen that California was the first state to move. We now have seen some action in Virginia. As we look toward the other states, we have a few possible weapons here. We're looking at Illinois. We're looking at Maryland. There is one Democrat in Maryland, Bill Ferguson, who already came out in defiance of what Westmore, the governor, said, in defiance of what the House, the top Democrat in the House has said, both of whom have expressed that they're open to this. Bill Ferguson shut the door to it. And this is not going to move forward in Maryland without his okay, because they'll control what goes to the floor. And so in light of that, what do you say, seeing the success that you've had in California, what do you say to somebody who's closing the door to this process in Maryland?
Well, I hope he feels very differently on Tuesday and Tuesday night when those early results come in. I hope he feels very...
Press 3 if you knew where you're watching from. Press 3 if you knew where you're watching from. Press 5 you've been here before, where you're watching from. Thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk About It Media 21. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
Differently, considering what just happened in Missouri, Carolina. Hope he feels very differently after they move from this special session in Indiana. I hope he wakes up to the fact the American...
Good morning, Texas. Thanks for being here. I hope you had a great weekend. I did.
People that he represents in his home state, the American people are waking up, are going to demand more and better. I don't want to cast any aspersions on it because we need to convince them to move in our direction. I say our direction, we the people. It is not a democratic direction. It's about our republic. It's not red or blue, it's red, white, and blue. And I say that sincerely. I hope he'll come to a deeper realization of what the hell is going on, not just with maps, but with masked men showing up in and around polling places, secret police, what's happened with the federalization of the National Guard. That will happen in his home state, unquestionably. And what's going to happen with DOJ monitored in his home state. If it doesn't happen this year, it's going to happen certainly in 2026.
Good morning, good
Actual
morning.
last question here, and I have to ask this because we're in Los Angeles right now, and this question isn't the same gravity as all the other questions we've been speaking about, but it's important for the city that we're in here. First of all, a big thank you for your work in terms of increasing the tax credit that the film industry has gotten here in California. Now I'm going to be a real big pain in the ass and say that as we look toward what will, if I'm not mistaken, be your last budget next year.
You want more?
I want an uncapped tax credit. And so what's your openness?
In normal times, this is something that the US DOJ does do when there's a history of violations and a sincere and good faith effort.
Let's continue with the news. Fair use reaction clip. Like the video as you guys come in. Let's talk more of the shutdown and what's going on. Like the video as you guys come in.
Contest here, but real people are losing. The American people are hurting. He is a big-hearted president. He wants everybody to get their services and the health services for veterans and SNAP benefits and all the rest.
Does he?
It's very unfortunate that Donald Trump and Republicans have decided to weaponize hunger and withhold SNAP benefits, even in contravention of 2 federal courts. We're asking Republicans to sit down, as we've indicated our willingness to sit down with them anytime, any place, anywhere.
Joining us now is Democratic Representative from New Mexico, Melanie Stansbury. Welcome back to the broadcast. So, Congressman, we are over a month now into this shutdown, and we've heard rumblings of discussions to end it. You have Texas Senator Ted Cruz, who predicted the government will open on Wednesday or Thursday. What are your Senate colleagues saying behind closed doors? Because you now have the largest federal workers union in the country calling for Democrats to step back from their health care demand and relieve the suffering and the hardship. So are Democrats in this for the long haul, no matter what the pressure?
Yeah, let me just say, Democrats want the government reopened. We have been there every single week since the shutdown happened, but Mike Johnson has completely locked out the House. And in fact, I left Washington, D.C. on Thursday night, and right before I left for the airport, I talked to leadership and I said, are we going to be back in session? Are we going to reopen the government next week? And I was told the indications from Republicans were that they were going to call their own members back next week. But then, or 2 days ago, the Speaker of the House canceled votes yet again. So we are now on the 33rd day of the shutdown, and the Speaker of the House is refusing to sit down with Democrats. The President hasn't met with Democrats in over a month. They're refusing to negotiate, and now the President has withheld food assistance for 42 million Americans against 2 court orders. So I find it a hard pill to swallow when I hear Republican leadership trying to pin shutdown.
Let me know in the comments. Are you affected by, one, the EBT or SNAP? Are you affected by being a federal worker? Are you affected by the Obamacare? Let me know in the comments. How are you affected by everything that's going on? Let me know in the comments. Press 3 if you knew where you're watching from. Press 3 if you knew where you're watching from. Press 5 you've been here before, where you're watching from. Let's continue to get the likes up. Double tap the screen to get the likes up. Thumbs up the video. Thumbs up the video. Thanks for being here. Thanks for tuning in. Let's continue.
On Democrats, when they have literally had the House out of session for more than a month and are refusing to sit down and negotiate and reopen the government.
You know, to the SNAP.
Or do you know somebody that's affected?
Benefits there on Friday, a federal judge did order the Trump administration. They've got to continue paying out SNAP benefits from the emergency fund. The administration has until tomorrow to respond what it plans to do, but that certainly leaves things a bit unsettled still today. New Mexico has some of the highest SNAP participation in this country. You've got more than 457,000 people statewide.
Wow.
It's nearly 22% of the state's population. What are you hearing from your constituents, and can local food banks make up the needed difference?
Yeah, let me be clear first and foremost. Donald Trump is choosing to withhold food assistance from 42 million Americans. There is an emergency contingency fund exactly for emergencies like this. And while the president has found many authorities for which he probably doesn't have the legal or constitutional authority to give bailouts to Argentina to help his billionaire friends, he's demolishing the White House and he's throwing lavish parties at his private club in Florida. He is choosing to let tens of millions of children and elders in this country go without food assistance this weekend. Now, in New Mexico, we have taken the step of making sure that our people can get food on the table. Our governor announced on Thursday that we are making $30 million available and funding about 10 days of emergency food assistance through state funding, but it's not enough to get us through the month. And so these court orders by 2 federal judges on Fridays directing the Trump administration to use emergency contingency funds are vital to make sure that Americans all across the country can put food on the table. And I want to say this, I grew up in a low-income family. I know how vital those extra supplemental funds are for a family. Families do whatever they have to survive, but just that little extra help, that few extra dollars a day could mean the difference between your grandparents, your children, the ability of someone who's sick in your family or disabled or a veteran being able to put food on the table. And I think it's disgusting, immoral, and unconscionable that the administration is actually using food as a weapon against our people while they are throwing parties at a private club in Florida. It's disgusting.
So Democrats are trying to address the perception of the party, but according to a new Washington Post ABC News Ipsos poll, almost 7 in 10 Americans say the Democratic Party is out of touch with the reality of most people. How important is this shutdown fight to turning around
crisis? And I think if anyone is grossly out of touch with the American people, it's Donald Trump throwing these lavish parties and building a ballroom in the middle of a shutdown, while real Americans are actually hurting. But at the end of the day, the most important thing that all of us need to do as members is reconnect with our humanity and with each other. And I think that Tuesday's election results are going to show that the American people understand who's with them and who's with the billionaires.
New Mexico, Congressman Melanie Stansbury.
Like the video.
I'm John Yang. Tonight, day 33 of the government shutdown.
Let's
continue. It's drawing to a close with no end in sight. And Americans are beginning to feel the effects. Payments for federal food programs despite court orders. Delays are likely for federal payments to help low-income Americans heat and cool their homes.
Let's continue fair use reaction clip. Continue to hit the like button, and thank you.
And the air traffic control system is beginning to show signs of strain as the holiday travel season approaches. Meanwhile, this weekend, the approximately 650,000 furloughed federal workers are getting fresh notices telling them to stay home without working and without pay. Many are beginning to feel the pinch.
This is my first time visiting a food bank in my entire life. I've never had the need to do so in the past, but times change.
Anthony's fate is just one of the hundreds of thousands of federal employees nationwide who've been furloughed for more than 4 weeks. In Washington, D.C. and elsewhere, federal workers, both furloughed and fired, are lining up at food banks for assistance.
I have a master's degree. I have 25 years of experience in my own job. I didn't see this ever coming. It never should have.
Amy Uccello was one of tens of thousands of USAID workers fired earlier this year when the administration eliminated the agency.
It's finding ways to make ends meet. Grateful for any sort of assistance programs. I'm showing up to food banks when I can. We're applying to jobs constantly. Our unemployment just ran out, so now we have no income coming in.
Wow.
IRS lawyer Isaac Stock.
How did their unemployment run out already? Like the video, fair use reaction clip.
I turned a side hustle selling hot dogs into a temporary full-time gig.
If the federal workers are going to work, how would the unemployment run out already?
It was a happy coincidence in the sense that I have something to do while I'm furloughed. But I really do want to emphasize that I and every coworker I know, we just want to go back to work. So I'm very much looking forward to when the shutdown is over, just resuming my job and having this be a fun weekend thing like it was intended to be.
World Central Kitchen is known for providing food aid in the aftermath of disasters around the world. One of their latest distribution sites, downtown Washington, D.C.
I just don't like to know that SNAP benefits are being cut off, other programs are being cut off, the work is being delayed, our country can't kind of run the way that it should effectively and efficiently because we have a lapse in appropriation and Congress is not coming to the table like they should.
And as the government shutdown closes in on becoming the longest ever, federal workers want Congress to hear their pleas.
I still have bills that are due. I have a family that I have to take care of. So it's a lot of uncertainty that comes along with this. I'm grateful for these opportunities to receive assistance, but there is a lot of uncertainty that comes along with it, and it causes a lot of stress as well. All I can do is just continue to pray and hope that something is done to resolve this issue with the federal government shutdown.
Barring some dramatic unforeseen development, it appears likely that this week the shutdown will become the longest on record. Jeremy Mayer is the director of the Political Science Master's Program at George Mason University's Schar School of Policy and Government. Jeremy, this shutdown is about to have a distinction, being the longest on record. Are there other things distinctive about this shutdown compared with others from the recent past?
Yes, the biggest difference is the lack of negotiations. Every other shutdown, the focus has been on what is the president's negotiating position, what is his opposition in Congress, what is their position. And there were shifting sands, and here it's just been nothing. The Democrats set their line in the sand, and the Republicans have their position, no negotiations until the government opens, and we're still where we were at the start.
Why do you think that is?
Well, it's a symbol of how polarized we are. The Republicans are answerable to a MAGA base and Donald Trump, and they are not interested in compromising because they increasingly see the Democrats as evil, and the Democrats are moving towards that polarization as well. There's not a lot of moderates in the Democratic Party pressuring Schumer to make a deal. At the base of the Democrats to deal.
We're also seeing this administration picking and choosing, making winners and losers over what programs they're going to favor and what programs they're going to pay people to work. Is that unusual?
It is very unusual, and it's of questionable legality. But, this administration has been doing that since they were inaugurated. They shut down, as your package had, USAID. They've effectively shut down the Department of Education. No prior president in the history of the Republic has ever asserted the ability to shut down entire agencies.
The president is continuing his push to get rid of the Senate legislative filibuster. He says that's the way to reopen the government. On Truth Social this weekend, he urged Republicans, don't be weak and stupid. Fight, 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 win, win, win. Senate Majority Leader says that he wants to keep the filibuster. He says that it's a bulwark against a lot of really bad things happening with the country. Explain what he means by that, or why he would say that.
So there has been this debate. Traditionalists in the Senate of both parties have been against ending the filibuster. They treasure the filibuster. It's one of the things that makes the Senate different from the House. And it's not in the Constitution, but it's since 1802. But on both sides, the more radical members of the Democratic and Republican caucus have wanted to get rid of the filibuster because it's the only thing that allows you to get big change through the Congress.
The Democrats say they won't vote to reopen the government until the Republicans agree to restore some cuts to Medicaid and also agree to extend the subsidies for ACA insurance premiums. In the recent past of these shutdowns, has anyone ever won a policy change by using the government shutdown as leverage?
Well, somewhat. Clinton's big victory was in the politics of the 95 shutdown. He just showed himself to be the adult and made Gingrich look small. But the Republicans did win action on workfare and on a balanced budget. So the 95 is kind of the shutdown that everybody looks to. But the more common outcome is the 2018 shutdown with Trump. He said, I won't open the government until you build me a border wall. And after 35 days, he crumbled like a cheap suit in the rain, and then there was no border wall.
Are shutdowns becoming a common tactic or tool in these negotiations or disagreements between the two parties?
Unfortunately, they are, and they are terrible for government. It's the suffering of the workers, but think about the morale of the agencies even when we do reopen. I tell my students that a government shutdown is like an induced coma for a medical patient. It's the only thing worse is actual death, and it'll still be hurting our government's efficiency 6 months and 9 months from now, because all the things that they wanted to do, their budgets are truncated, their planning is truncated, and their workers are going to be dispirited. And even if they do get their back pay, they're going to have had this awful experience of being told your work isn't essential.
Given all that, given all you said, what do you think it's going to take to sort of break this stalemate?
Well, I think President Trump is going to win this stalemate. I think he can easily get the end of the shutdown simply by saying, my Justice Department has reinterpreted the 100-year-old law, and now I can declare an end to the shutdown. This is what happened when the Congress failed to pass bills on time from 1884 to 1980. We just had a continuing resolution automatically in effect. But in 1980...
Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip. Like the video as you guys come in. Like the video as you guys come in.
Okay, so the government shutdown as it stands right now, 31 days, 17 hours into this thing. That means we're technically in the 32nd day of the shutdown. Also, we've been discussing all week. Now Politico has this. Nearly 42 million Americans have lost their food stamp benefits. Standing by is Aaron Pellish. He's a reporter with Politico. He's been tracking this. This has been such a big talker all week, the SNAP angle to this shutdown. Everybody was talking about the beginning of November. It's November 1st. What do we need to know today?
Yeah, you're right, Austin. Everyone was looking at November 1st as this key checkpoint on when and to see if both parties are going to be able to solve the shutdown, barreling toward the longest U.S. shutdown, U.S. government shutdown in history. My colleagues Grace Yarrow and Marsha Brown reported that story you just brought up. 42 million Americans losing their food stamp benefits today. That's 1 in 8 Americans. There's really 2 ways that this can get solved. One is through the courts. There's a couple federal lawsuits. 2 federal judges have ruled the administration must use emergency funds to pay for the food aid program. It's possible the Trump administration will comply with that order. President Trump posted on social media last night that he is open to complying with that order pending the right judicial guidance. But even if that takes place, it still could take days and weeks for people to get those benefits. Obviously, we're coming up to Thanksgiving, where that's a really critical issue for people who need that food. The other way is, of course, that the government could reopen and fund that program in full. But we don't really know as of now whether any movement on this issue, despite both parties being really concerned about this lapse in benefits. And you've heard Republicans and Democrats in Congress really concerned. You've heard Republicans, Democrats, governors, and legislatures in states scrambling, trying to keep this program funded. But you're right, Austin, this was kind of a big checkpoint in terms of how close the government would be to coming to a resolution on funding the government. And we've barreled right through it, and we're kind of now in a new frontier in terms of how this is going to get.
There's about 105 in the building. Please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the subscribe button. If all 105 hit subscribe, that'll be an amazing day for us. Please hit the subscribe button, and thank you. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip. If you already hit subscribe, thank you. If you already hit like, thank you. I appreciate it.
So, Aaron, yesterday a federal judge ordered the Trump administration to continue to fund the SNAP program during the shutdown. It was phrased this way in the Associated Press. This is going to deliver near-term relief to roughly 42 million Americans. Help us make sense of the judge's order yesterday, if you can. Did it basically aim to avert the crisis altogether? Was it that simple? Because President Trump sent out something shortly after that ruling saying that it wasn't that simple.
That's exactly right. If you read the order, or my understanding of the order, and from reading some of the reporting and from some of the lawyers who've commented on this, the order would fund temporarily the SNAP program in full for a short amount of time using emergency funding that was set aside through USDA. The president, based on what he's put out, and again, this is all kind of fresh and new, and this could change by Monday when some of these judges, and there's 2 cases, one of them that you mentioned, where judges are asking for updates on Monday. There's a chance that the administration could reverse its course, but based on what the president sent out, he seems.
Like the video, like the video. Fair use reaction clip. Like the videos, you guys come in. Thank you for being here. Thanks for being here, Paris.
Temperamentally open to the idea of having a judge order the administration to fund the program, but it is a little bit different than him willingly going out of his way to fund the program. There seems to be some unwillingness to volunteer that. He seems to be indicating that he wants to be compelled by a judge to do it, which is a little bit of a tightrope that he's walking there rhetorically. But it's still it's still kind of early days in this lawsuit, and obviously which I think the big takeaway from these judicial rulings is that it's clear that there is a administration. They are trying to require the administration force their hand to fund this program that was meant to be a pivot point on shutdown negotiations. If this program doesn't remain funded, whether compelled by a judge or voluntarily by the administration,
good morning,
it does take away that negotiating chip off the table for Republicans trying to pressure Democrats to come back to the table to negotiate the shutdown. It does, so it's a little bit clear what the politics are, but the ruling, as you stated, is pretty straightforward here.
You know, I've been sounding like a broken record for the past month, saying almost every night that both sides amid the shutdown have been pointing fingers at one another, and there hasn't been a ton of positive information or any information to indicate that some sort of solution to fund the government is imminent. It just hasn't been something that we've seen materialize quite yet. Are you starting to hear of anything on Capitol Hill in the coming week that indicates, and this SNAP thing sure does seem to be putting political pressure on Congress in a way that perhaps wasn't happening earlier in the shutdown. Are there any indicators? Is there any reason for some optimism that this thing could get solved sooner rather than later?
Let's continue.
In a new interview, President Trump continued
fair use reaction clip.
Continued to place the blame for the ongoing government shutdown on Democrats, but offered few solutions as we reach day 34 of this standoff.
All we're doing is we keep voting. I mean, the Republicans are voting almost unanimously to end it, and the Democrats keep voting against ending it. You know, they've never had this. This has happened like 18 times before. The Democrats always voted for an extension, always saying, give us an extension, we'll work it out. They've lost their way. Raised lunatics. And all they have to do, Nora, is say, let's vote. I'm not going to do it by being extorted by the Democrats who have lost their way. There's something wrong with these people.
So then what happens on November 15th when the troops don't get a pay
Schumer is a basket case, and he has nothing to lose. He's become, I just left Japan, he's become a kamikaze pilot.
It sounds like it's not going to get solved, the shutdown.
It's going to get solved, yeah. Oh, it's going to get solved.
How?
We'll get it solved. Eventually, they're going to have to vote.
You're saying the Democrats will capitulate?
I think they have to.
That how remains a big question, unanswered at this point, because the Trump administration is also grappling with the fact that they have until noon today to update a federal judge who ruled last week that the Agriculture Department must disperse SNAP benefits after nearly 42 million Americans lost benefits Saturday because of the shutdown. The Rhode Island judge says the administration must either make a full SNAP payment by the end of the day today or a partial payment by Wednesday after the White House reversed a plan to use a $5 billion contingency fund to keep the program running. What's a contingency for if not this? Over 42 million Americans rely on SNAP, and the shutdown has led to long lines at food banks and emergency food distribution centers. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins says the contingency fund won't even cover about half of November's SNAP needs. Still yesterday, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said SNAP payments could be made as soon as Wednesday, but that the government had to, in his words, figure out what the process is to make such payments. It all comes as millions of Americans head to the polls tomorrow to cast their ballots in a series of high-stakes elections. It may not be a presidential or a midterm election year, but tomorrow's results could still carry crucial clues about how the American people view the president, Republicans, the Democratic Party, and the political landscape overall heading into 2026. In New York City, more than 735,000 people have already voted in the widely watched battle for mayor. That's between frontrunner and Democratic Socialist Zohran Mamdani, former governor and independent Andrew Cuomo, and Republican Curtis Sliwa. And then in New Jersey and Virginia, voters are weighing in on the race for governor, with more than 1 million people already voting in each state, as both Democratic candidates seek to close out their campaigns by tying their opponents to President Trump. And in California, redistricting is on the ballot. Voters set to decide whether or not to redraw the state's congressional map to help Democrats gain up to 5 additional seats. It's a counterpunch to Republican redistricting efforts in Texas. Former President Barack Obama hit the campaign trail over the weekend for Democrats, running in those 2 crucial gubernatorial races. First, he was out with Democrat Abigail Spanberger in Virginia, who's currently leading in the polls there, against her Republican opponent, Winsome Earl Sears, lieutenant governor. After taking the stage, Obama highlighted what's at stake here, criticizing congressional Republicans and President Trump.
Let's face it, our country and our politics are in a pretty dark place right now. It's hard to know where to start, because every day this White House offers up a fresh batch of lawlessness and recklessness and mean-spiritedness and just plain craziness for ordinary things. Costs haven't gone down, they've gone up, partly thanks to this shambolic tariff policy. Young people trying to get a start in life are having a tougher time than ever finding a job. Entry-level hiring is down 16% from last year. Hundreds of thousands of federal employees, including a lot of people here in Virginia, have lost their jobs to pay for those billionaire tax cuts.
Obama then headed to New Jersey for a campaign rally with Democrat Mikey Sherrill. Polls in the Garden State show a much closer race between Sherrill and her Republican opponent, Jack Ciattarelli, who has aligned his campaign with President Trump.
Mikey's opponent has now run for governor 3 times in a row. I believe in persistence at a certain point. So 3 times in a row. Other 2 times he lost. So this time his strategy is to suck up to the Republicans in Washington. So Donald Trump called Mikey's opponent 100% MAGA. Not a great endorsement.
Of course, those gubernatorial races in both Virginia and New Jersey take place tomorrow. I want to bring in now White House reporter for The Hill, Julia Manchester, but as we often say, you are a campaign reporter forever, and that's where we're going to stay focused because, of course, we saw President Barack Obama on the campaign trail in New Jersey and Virginia. Everything is in the name of get out the vote right now. But what does it say that you've got Obama out there, clearly someone meant to bolster Democratic efforts? Where's President Trump? I know he's doing some teletown halls, but that's not the same as the full pomp and circumstance that he loves.
It's not the same, and the fact that Obama went to someplace like Norfolk, a major decider, I think, in any statewide election in Virginia, an area with a lot of federal workers, a lot of military service members. I mean, that's huge. I covered the 2021 gubernatorial race in Virginia and covered Obama's visit to Richmond. That was a much smaller venue. We saw thousands of people turn out for Spamberger there, so I think that's huge. But back to Trump. We're seeing Trump be very vocal on Truth Social. He's been vocal in Virginia, for example, on the attorney general race in the state. Of course, there's that texting scandal involving Democratic nominee Jay Jones. President Trump has vocally endorsed incumbent Jason Miyares, the Republican in that race. However, he notably has not formally endorsed Winsome Earl Sears. We'll see if there's any sort of formal endorsement here tonight. We know that Republicans tend to be day of voters, so we could definitely see potentially this having an impact. But even in New Jersey, where we saw President Trump really narrow the margins in 2024, and where we've seen Jack Ciattarelli, I mean, President Obama mentioned he's run for governor 3 times, but he came closer than expected in 2021. You would think that President Trump sees opportunity there, but as you say, Ali, he's very notably staying on the sidelines, at least in terms of campaigning in person.
Yeah, I think the New Jersey race really has some interesting themes that could be instructive going forward. It's a state that we saw go kind of swing into a more reddish category than I think we thought that it might. President Biden winning that state by 16 points in 2020, then Kamala Harris only winning it by 6. A lot of that driven in part by Hispanic voters in the Garden State, and now it's an open question of will they stay with Will they stay with Republicans? Does it matter if Trump is on the ballot? All of that is going to kind of be an open question, but you're right that is, I think, the more interesting race to watch as it's supposed to be tighter as well. Of course, the other one.
Never that, Paris. Never that. Like the video, like the video. Don't forget to hit subscribe. There's about 93 people in the building. You're very smart, very intelligent, and I appreciate you.
We're taking a close look at is happening in New York City. What do you see right now for Democrats who are all but likely to have Zohran Mamdani, not just as the next mayor, but likely as a big face for the future of the party?
Well, first of all, I was struck looking at the campaign over the weekend in New York City, obviously.
And did somebody say they can tell? I don't even know if they're trying to be funny, but Paris is very smart. She's being witty right now. But if that person's saying they can tell, you're out of here if you're being rude to Paris. Be kind in the comments, y'all. Be kind in the comments. Paris is very smart, very intelligent, and right now she's being very witty. Yeah, I had to get him out of there. Nobody insults me or Paris. Not going to happen. Goodbye.
Big weekend for New York with the marathon. But Zohran Mamdani obviously going out into areas, Staten Island, for example, Republican strongholds in New York, but also really revving up the young vote. He was at nightclubs Saturday night going into Sunday morning, really looking to campaign, turn out that vote. Look, it's going to be a glide path, I think, for Zohran Mamdani. It's looking like that. And Republicans very, very hopeful that they will be able to paint him as the face of the party. But I guess the only pushback I have on that is that if you have Mikey Sherrill and Abigail Spanberger win in Virginia and New Jersey, I think that's incredibly notable because they're centrist. They both came into office in 2018, also when we saw the rise of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, for example, but Sherrill and Spanberger flipped Republican-held seats. So
you guys, we're almost at 100 likes. Can I get 30 people? I want to be over 100 likes. Can I get 30 people to hit the like button? YouTube makes it easy. All you have to do is double tap the screen. The like button will be there, or back button and the like button will be there. Please hit the like button. There's about 104 in the building. 104 people, please subscribe and thank you. Let's continue. Fair use. I've been live almost 2 hours. Let's get the likes up. Live for almost 2 hours. We should have been hit the like button after 15 minutes of being live.
Say two very different kind of Democrats coming out of this election. The question is, though, Republicans painting with a broad brush there. Yeah, I think for Cheryl and Spanberger, it's also a test of the national security Democrats that came to Washington in that 2018 wave. They were both roommates here in D.C. when they actually came to Congress. And as someone who also looks at the way that we think about presidential contenders, I really do believe that they should be given a little bit more credit if they win their races as a paradigm of what Democrats could drive towards as we talk about what electability looks like in those circles. That is, I think, one of my final thoughts. The other piece of this that I'm factoring in is as all of these races hinge on affordability in large part, the way that in our new NBC News poll, it shows that 2/3 of voters say that they don't think Trump is handling the economy correctly.
Thanks for double tapping. Thanks for hitting the like. Thank you. I appreciate that. Can I get 30 people to hit subscribe? 30 people to hit subscribe. I'm almost at my quota. If you already hit subscribe, thank you. If you already hit like, thank you. We're almost at our quotas. I've been live for almost 2 hours and it has been 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Square that circle. I mean, that was an issue that Republicans were running away with, and especially President Trump. Well, I think maybe what is it, a year later, after President Trump won that election, we're still seeing affordability being a huge issue, and I think voters were hoping to see something change quickly, but instead we're seeing inflation either stay around the same level, maybe go down a little bit, but they're not seeing much of a difference, or they don't feel as much of a difference. So I think that's what's being reflected in that poll. Yeah, and I think we're going to ultimately see if voters are picking up on that thread, or if it's a federal worker that is picking up on what happened with DOJ and the ongoing government shutdown in Virginia. There's so many different threads of this. We're going to be following all of them. You teed us up perfectly. Julia Manchester, thank you. You've got some new reporting up on your normal White House beat as well. Busiest woman, thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Please hit the like button. Please hit the like button. Please hit the like button and thank you. Let's continue. Fair use. Please hit the subscribe button as well. We're 30 people away from meeting the quota. 30 people away.
Shortages lead to flight delays, and the Trump administration is warning it could get worse.
I think the real consequence is what kind of rolling delays do you have throughout the system, right? We've seen problems at LA, in Dallas.
Thank you for double tapping. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate you all. Let's continue. Fair use.
In DC, Boston, Atlanta. And so I think it's only going to get worse.
Joining me now, Democratic Congressman from California, Jimmy Gomez. He sits on the House Ways and Means Committee, and we welcome you back to the broadcast, sir. So, a lot of pain in America today, and Senator Ted Cruz predicts the shutdown will end Wednesday or Thursday. Do you see it happening by midweek?
I hope so.
First, I do think that the American people are suffering a lot of pain right now, but that's on top of the fact that Donald Trump's economy is really sluggish and only has, I would say, minuscule job growth, and people are actually being laid off, and they see their prices increase. So that's why we were fighting so hard as Democrats to make sure that the ACA subsidies are extended, because that's going to be unbearable. Most people are not going to be able to afford that, and they're going to lose their health care. Now you have the expiration of the SNAP benefits, and the Trump administration refusing to use that $6 billion. So all that pressure is, I believe, starting to lead to a point where hopefully the Senate negotiates a deal. And here's the thing, they can only reach a deal is that they say, okay, Donald Trump, you might be the president, but you're not the head of the Senate and you're not the head of the House. And we're going to cut a deal that makes sense for not only for the American people as a whole, but for our individual states and our individual districts. If they don't do that, this thing can drag on for weeks more. So I think they need to think about their districts and their states and not Donald Trump.
So you don't think Donald Trump's the one who can come in and wrap this thing up and be the deal
Good
maker?
morning. Good morning.
Donald Trump, he could if he wanted to, because the Republicans in the Senate and in the House just bend the knee and acquiesce everything in their power to Donald Trump. So he could do that, but since he's not, it's up to the members of the Senate to cut the deal, to act as legislators, to compromise and to negotiate and to come up with something that pushes the ball forward. But as long as they're just abiding by Donald Trump's keep the government shut down, create as much economic pain as possible for the American people so the Democrats capitulate, as long as that's their negotiating tactics, this thing might never end. So we need leaders to emerge and to actually cut a deal. That's what being a legislator is about. They got elected on their own. They should not like it and not just bend the knee to Donald Trump every time he calls or asks for something.
Look, I have to tell you that Republicans have shown little interest in doing anything that Donald Trump doesn't tell them to do thus far. But that said, you have the biggest federal worker union, which is broken with Democrats and is calling for an end to the shutdown, putting its support now behind the Republican funding bill. Yeah, you still have some labor unions on your side, but what do you say to the workers who want to be able to afford health care, but they just can't go without a paycheck any longer?
You know, I was actually a political rep for the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, a public sector union, and I understand what they deal with, the fact that they put in long hours, they work hard, try to raise a family, and they need that paycheck. And I also understand that AFG has been decimated by the fact that Donald Trump has been bullying them, cutting the funding for a lot of their departments, and then giving them a fork in the road offer: either resign and take early retirement, or you're going to be fired. 250,000 to 300,000 have been let go. So I recognize that there is pain. But they at the same time, I also recognize a lot of public sector unions know that Donald Trump and the Republicans have been hostile to the work that they have done year in and year out for not just this past year, but for decades. So Democrats are fighting for them just as much as we're fighting for people throughout.
We're almost at our quota. Can I get 30 people to hit the subscribe button? 30 people to hit subscribe if you already hit subscribe. I'm keeping count of my numbers. 30 people to hit subscribe. There's 119 in the building. Please hit subscribe and thank you.
The country. And we're saying keep fighting, keep making your voice heard. But also, they don't believe the fact that Donald Trump is for them. The facts speak otherwise. The facts speak otherwise. He tried to cut SNAP in the big billionaire bill by $200 billion, cutting SNAP. Refuses to use the $6 billion in emergency funding. And then canceled 92 million pounds of food that was supposed to go to food banks in the spring. This guy is not somebody who cares for working people. He sees them as a bargaining chip and as leverage in order to get his way in Congress and through the federal government.
And yet, the Washington Post poll out today finds nearly 7 in 10 Americans who say the Democratic Party is out of touch with most Americans. You got more than 6 in 10 saying the same of Trump and Republicans. Will Democrats be credited for standing on principle, or could they lose support because they are partly to blame for what people have experienced over the past 33 difficult days?
I think what Democrats need to do is continue to fight for the working man and woman on the street, that in this economy has been rigged for the billionaires and the largest corporations. We need to talk about affordability, the fact that average American pay 30% of their income towards rent or housing. Another 26% pay their income towards childcare. And then now, the fact that the healthcare subsidies are ending and it's going to spike the healthcare costs, well, that's what we're fighting against. We want to make sure that this place, the United States, is still a country where the next generation can be better than the last. And as long as we talk about affordability, taking on the establishment, taking on the billionaires, we're going to be able to win these fights. But you know what? In the end, it's about improving the life of people on the ground every single day, every single week. Not just talking about it, not just putting up pieces of legislation, actually delivering. And that's how we're going to win back the minds and the hearts of the American people.
So as the president embarks on these remodeling projects in the East Wing and the White House Lincoln bathroom amid this shutdown, the House Ways and Means is demanding more information about DHS Secretary Kristi Noem's purchase of 2 luxury private jets, which the committee says will cost taxpayers nearly $200 million. Can they make the case these are government necessities? Why does this feel so jarring?
Well, I think it's in the contrast to the fact that the American people are struggling in Donald Trump's economy. The fact that he keeps passing tariff after tariff after tariff, raising the prices on Americans on everyday goods, from coffee to car seats to baby shoes, you name it, everything is going up. And then they want to spend that $200 million on 2 planes that nobody believes is necessary, plus the extra $20 billion and another $20 billion, so a total of $40 billion for Argentina to bail them out, because nothing for the American farmer.
What was given to Argentina? Everybody's been talking about that too. When people are suffering, federal workers are not getting their paychecks. What's really going on, y'all? Last year, none of us would have ever thought that this would be happening. Not to federal workers. Hello. Like the video, like the video. There's about 106 in the building. Please hit subscribe. Please hit subscribe. Like I told y'all in the beginning of the video, there was a federal worker alleged she was about to be put out of her place if she didn't come up with her rent. That's crazy. For those federal workers to still be working and not get their paychecks, it's crazy to me. Like the video, like the video. Fair use reaction clip.
He spends another $300 million on a ballroom and destroys the East Wing that has been historic. That's what people find insulting, is the fact that Americans are struggling, but he doesn't give a damn. And he then holds a great Gatsby party at Mar-a-Lago during Halloween, just adding insult to injuries.
Did y'all see my short in regards to them throwing the party over the weekend? Like the video, like the video, like the video.
This is an administration that is out of touch just as much as Marie Antoinette was out of touch when she said, "Let them eat cake."
All right. California Congressman Jimmy Gomez, thank you so much.
Like the video, fair use reaction clip. Are you guys surprised that what's going on in regards to the shutdown, in regards to the party over the weekend? Like the videos, you guys come in. Like the videos, you guys come in. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for being here.
President Donald Trump has been notably quiet about the races and completely absent from the campaign trail. In Virginia, the president has only endorsed one Republican statewide candidate, Attorney General Jason Miyares. While in New Jersey, the president's support for the GOP gubernatorial candidate Jack Ciattarelli was a tele-rally last week. And his commentary on California's redistricting ballot measure has been largely focused on discrediting the vote. His administration has said it will monitor polling sites in California and New Jersey. Joining us now, John Ablon, host of How to Fix It podcast,
also on the Bulwark and author of Lincoln and the Fight for Peace, which is a great history.
Okay, you guys, I've been live for almost 2 hours and 25 minutes. I have some things I have to take care of. I appreciate all you for being here. There's about 103 in the building. If all 103 subscribe, that'll be a great day for me. Please support the channel by subscribing. If all 103 subscribe, that'll be a great day for me. Let's get the likes up. We're almost at 100. We're almost at 100 likes. Let's get the likes to 100. Let's get the likes to 100. 10 people, please hit the like button. Please hit the like button. Let's get the likes to 100. Thank you. Double tap the screen, hit the thumbs up above the video, below the video.
And Emma Biglin, co-host of The Majority Report. Okay, so
sounds like a really confident president who's like out there campaigning for all of his candidates and leading the party across the finish line.
We're hearing a lot about Biden in the bunker.
Right?
Yeah. Do you think that Donald Trump made the calculation that these are not strong candidates in New Jersey and
Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the 100s. Thank you.
Virginia in these governor's races, and so stay out? What do you think?
No, I think Jack Ciattarelli, who came within 2 points of Phil Murphy last time, and Trump made his biggest per capita gains in New York and New Jersey, is a much more competitive race than Democrats would like to admit.
Yeah.
I think it's that Trump is really unpopular. And the Latino vote that he really benefited from in 2024 isn't looking like it's going to trend his way. So I think it's an acknowledgement of weakness and really lack of security. I mean, he's going to get his head in.
Can I get 6 more people to hit the like button? 6 more people to hit the like button. Let's get over 100. There's about 122 in the building. 6 more people to hit the like, and thank you. Double tap the screen, hit the thumbs up above the video, below the video. Let's get over 100 likes. We should have been there, but I appreciate everyone for being here. I appreciate everyone for hitting subscribe. Thank you. If you already hit like, thank you. We're almost at 100 likes. Thank you. It's free to hit the like. It's free. The like should match the views. Thank you.
Really embraced him in the race. He hasn't pretended to not be mad or something like that.
No, that's a great point. But I think, Abigail, Virginia is really the key bellwether. You're going to probably have a Republican almost certainly replaced by a Democrat. And Trump likes to stay away from anything that hurts.
I want to follow up on one thing quickly, though. You said you do not think that the gains that Trump made in New Jersey with Hispanic voters are going to cross over this election.
I would be very surprised.
Why?
Because I think the Hispanic voters that really were, huge shifts in his direction. But because of the ICE actions, I do think you're going to see, and the Hispanic community obviously is not a monolith, but it's hard to imagine that level of enthusiasm will not be gone.
Rising prices, big deal for them.
It's all about affordability at the end of the day, of course. But
yeah, I think if you look at what the coverage has been like on New Jersey, again, it's prices, it's electricity, which the current incumbent, the Democratic governor, has gotten a lot of the blame for among voters. So I actually don't know how it'll shake out, because maybe people are blaming President Trump for higher prices, maybe they're blaming their Democratic governor.
Let's get 5 more people to hit the like button. We're almost at 100. Let's get 5 more people to hit the like button. We're almost at 100. Double tap the screen, hit the thumbs up above the video, below the video. YouTube makes it easy. All you have to do is double tap and then hit the thumbs up. Double tap, then hit the thumbs up. Or backspace and hit the thumbs up. Let's continue. We're almost at 100. 5 people to double tap that screen. Thank you. I don't know what you're bringing in here, but you ain't bringing that number up in here. I saw that real clear. We're positive over here.
Higher prices. So I feel like it's a little bit opaque in terms of how we should read whatever the results are from this election.
Yeah, I also think that it's way too close in the sense that Mikey Sherrill has been running a very risk-averse campaign, and that has caused there to be a little bit of closeness in this race where I don't think it necessarily should have been the case. Just on the economy for a little bit, I saw the statistic the other day that the top 10% of earners are currently responsible for 50% of consumer spending.
Yeah.
Just think about that for a second. I mean, this is a ticking time bomb, and it didn't just start with Trump and the tariffs. This is a long-form issue that is the result of growing income and wealth inequality, and it's really coming home to roost with Trump's insane actions with these tariffs, and then also the
3 more people to hit like. We're almost there, you guys. Double tap that screen to get the likes up. 90 people in here. Double tap the screen. We're almost at 100. Thank you.
The spotlight on him not really doing anything about curbing inflation. And when you talk about those Latino voters who may not show up for him because of the ICE raids as well, Trump also has an advantage when he's on the ballot, and the rest of the Republican Party does not. You see that low propensity voters turn out for him in a way that they don't for other Republicans, because the Republican brand is quite toxic. Trump is elevated above it because of of a celebrity status, and because, frankly, the Democrats keep exceptionalizing him and separating him from the rest of the Republican Party over the past 10 years, where Chuck Schumer has been pursuing suburban Republicans in the coalition and eschewing voters like working-class voters. He had that infamous line in 2016 where he said, for every blue-collar worker we lose in Western Pennsylvania, we will pick up 2 in suburban Philadelphia, suburbs of Philadelphia.
That's not how it's shaken out.
Has shaken out, and it's been the reason why the Democratic Party is even lagging behind the Republicans and Trump in credibility.
Well, so we didn't see Trump, but we did see one national figure this weekend in New Jersey who remains very popular with American voters, especially Democrats. We saw President Obama. Do you think that it was a smart move to bring in Obama and nationalize the race a little bit in New Jersey?
Yes, Barack Obama is actually the most popular national figure in politics right now, and he can still rile up the base. There's no. I'd like to look at the head-to-head on that. But because Bernie Sanders obviously is polarizing in a way that Barack Obama is not among a lot of folks. So he is still the biggest figure, the biggest draw, and I think she gives a shot of energy to Mikey Sherrill's campaign down the stretch when she really needs it. But I do want to underscore the broken promise on affordability. That's the really key thing, is that Trump was raising a lot of frustration with affordability in the wake of inflation. That's a decades-long middle-class squeeze, and he's holding Great Gatsby-themed parties at Mar-a-Lago while folks are getting their SNAP. 42 million folks are getting SNAP taken away, and health premiums are about to
it's not just that prices have continued going up. In fact, they're re-escalating, right? It's that the supports from government to help people cope with those escalating prices are being yanked away. Whether we're talking about food stamps, which obviously has gotten a lot of attention because 40 million people have lost their nutritional assistance because of the shutdown, or the healthcare premiums going up, or any of the other benefit programs like Medicaid is being yanked away from people starting, a little after the midterms, of course, but it's been messaged quite a bit, and I think pretty effectively by Democrats.
I wanted to get your thoughts on the Democratic Party here and whether or not what this upcoming Tuesday means for them. Ezra Klein recently wrote for the New York Times that over the past 15 years, the Democratic Party has made room on its left and closed down on its right. For all the talk of what the Democratic Party should learn from Bernie Sanders and Zohran Mamdani, there should be at least as much talk of.
Come on, you guys. We're almost there as far as likes. 5 more people to hit the like button. We're at 99. 5 more people to hit the like button. There's 143 in the building. The likes should match the views. It's free to hit the like button. It's free to hit the subscribe button. 5 more people to hit the like button, and thank you. 5 more people to hit the like button, and thank you. We're almost at 100. Please hit the like button. We've been live for 2 hours and 32 minutes. Super chats are welcome. $2, $5. Memberships are over there. Please subscribe. Let's get the likes up. Thank you. We finally hit the like. Who you telling to be quiet? Don't be rude in people's comments. That's just weird to me. Go hug yourself. That's just weird to me when people come in people's comments and they're rude. Go hug yourself. Okay, you guys. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarships and research. Fair use is used permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All comments are alleged, in our opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. Please hit the like button. 5 more people to hit the like and thank you. 5 more people to hit the like and thank you. Let's continue. We're almost at 100 likes. Please hit the like button and thank you.
What they should learn from Manchin or Golden or Marie Perez or Sarah McBride, the party should be seeking more, not less, internal disagreement. Do you agree with that stance?
I don't know what reality Ezra Klein is living in. The fact that the Democratic Party has tacked to its left. In what universe? The coalescing around Joe Biden in the 2020 primary, the besmirching of Bernie Sanders supporters, the eschewing of that movement in 2016, and even in this current moment with Zohran Mamdani, who has been a shot in the arm for the Democratic Party, you still have Chuck Schumer refusing to endorse him, and Hakeem Jeffries' endorsement is lukewarm at best. There is a fight right now within the Democratic Party, and Ezra Klein is representing a floundering corporatist centrist flank that is increasingly irrelevant in the party, and he's trying to carry water for them in the Times. I think it's a lucrative thing to do, but it's not necessarily matching the reality.
I love it. I'm so excited to disagree with that. I do. I disagree more. The point Ezra's trying to make is that it takes 2 weeks to fly. And he's trying to say the Democrats need to build a Big Ten. And he's not saying you got to choose between Zohran Mamdani and Bernie Sanders in the centrist wing. He's saying Democrats need to compete in more places. You raised a stat earlier that I think is the key one. Why, when Donald Trump's numbers are plummeting among independent voters, is
He's got 48% strong disapproval. How come the Democratic Party's approval rating is lower as a brand
Because
than
of the bubble message that I was just trying to elucidate.
So you believe it's because they're not far left enough?
No, I believe that there needs to be a different approach to politics here. Not building a tent and saying we don't necessarily stand for anything, including Ezra advocating for saying that we should run anti-abortion Democrats in red states. So let's throw trans people under the bus. Let's throw women under the bus. Let's just do anything except
if you want to see territory though.
No,
he's talking about being practical.
Yes,
and trying to expand the map. That's what needs to happen here. If Democrats are how do you expand the map? Is you win in Ohio and you win in Pennsylvania and you win in West Virginia. As much as Democrats hate Joe Manchin, he was the only Democrat who could win statewide office.
I'm sorry, but Joe Manchin helped kill the child tax.
There's about 140. There's about 122 in the building. Let's get the likes up, you guys. We just need 5 people to hit the like button. People are playing. They're playing in my face. 5 people to hit the like button. We'll be at 100. Actually 1, but let's get the likes up. Double tap the screen. Hit the thumbs up above the video, below the video. We need 5 people to hit the like button, and thank you.
Credit, which is the reason the Democrats are lagging behind in affordability.
Thank you.
Would it have been better if there were a Republican in that seat?
If the Democrats want to orient themselves behind a working class coalition and
Thank you for all the hearts. I like those hearts. Thank you.
use that as the base, that is how you build a durable coalition, not the one that has lost to Trump multiple times.
But if you look at the track record of like Sunrise and Justice Dems and these other, more populist progressive groups,
they have not there. Now the base is there. The base is
they have not gained a single seat.
Not a single institutional pushback from the Democratic Party. And
because of the voters.
The voters
are part of their.
To Emma's point, I do think that there is, when you're just looking top down from the most powerful figures in the Democratic Party establishment, there is a pattern of them being much more accepting of the rightward flank than the left side of the flank. I do think we're seeing that. I think we have some sounds. Hillary Clinton was just asked about Mamdani, who is, by every poll, still in a double-digit lead, very likely to become the mayor.
In New York City.
Hold on. Listen to the sound that we have of Hillary Clinton, and then I want both of you to respond on the other side.
This is fine. If you had a vote in this city, would you vote for Zoran Mamdani?
You know what? I don't vote.
Okay, thanks for being here, everyone. Focus on healthy, safe relationships. Be around people that's loving, kind, and respectful. Everyone, have a great day. Enjoy your week. Enjoy your Monday. Thanks for being here. I hope all is well with your friends and family in regards to the shutdown. If you know someone that's being affected, or if you know a federal worker that's being affected, well wishes to them. Thanks for being here, everyone. I appreciate you all. I'm sure this video is going to get over 5,000 views, well over. So we definitely got to keep the likes up. Definitely got to keep thanks for hitting subscribe, and thanks for hitting the like. I appreciate you all. Be blessed. Goodbye. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Let's Talk About It Media 21. Have a great day, everyone. Goodbye.